What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Cly, and welcome back to Budget Buys. Now today, what I'm going to be taking a look at is the Mixcder E9 wireless headphones with active noise canceling. Now I'm going to go ahead and say that these headphones were provided free of charge for this review by the folks over at Mixcder, but no other compensation has changed hands, so all opinions presented here are my own. In fact, that's actually something I should have been saying this whole time because I have yet to charge for a review. However, that might change in the future because I've actually had companies asking me that question these days. And if I'm not mistaken, the moment I accept payment for a review, it becomes a sponsored video, I have to declare it properly, and things just get kind of muddy. That's actually not a bad problem to have though. And I've kind of started going on a tangent, so let's get back onto the topic of headphones, shall we? First and foremost, let's go ahead and open this box up and see what you get. The zipper got caught, that's what I get. There we go. And that's actually a really nice looking pair of headphones. And no, this isn't the first time I'm taking a look at these headphones. I've actually been using them for a little over a week now, but it's my first time seeing them on the new camera. I'm used to the kind of cloudy picture I get on the old one. But I'll save these for later. First off, let's take a look at this little baggie here. What you get is a pretty thick manual, but I'll go ahead and say it's thick mainly because of how many languages there are covered in here. Each language seems to get about 14 pages or so. At least that's what English had and the next language over. You also get a pretty dang lengthy 3.5 millimeter cable. I want to say this is between 5 and 6 feet. Next up, you get a micro USB cable because yes, these are USB powered. You also get this neat little insert by Mixcder that talks about the warranty, thank you for your purchase, and whatnot. And last but not least, you get one of those lovely little things I drop all the time, and that is an adapter for when you're using these on an airplane, because apparently some planes still have this funky hookup in, the armrest or something? I'll admit, I've flown several times and I've never actually encountered that thing, but I always bring my own entertainment, so what can I say? Now let's move all of this out of the way and move on to the headphones themselves, shall we? All right, I've gone ahead and taken the headphones out of the case, pulled in the shot, and what can I say? These pop on the green background. Now, before I go into the internals, let's talk about the externals, specifically just how comfortable these headphones are. Because not only do they have the nice swivel edges that not only make for good storage, but allow these to fit on my head perfectly, but the pads that they have around the cup are just so comfortable. Yes, they're standard foam and not memory foam, which I've had on much more expensive headphones, but in this case, I actually think they work in the E9's favor. Not only that, but with the covering that they're using on the foam, they avoided getting the really, sweaty or non-breathable vinyl cover. These don't make my head sweat up a storm like some of the lower cost headphones have done. In fact, on some of my over-the-ear headphones, I've kind of stripped away this coating and just left the foam underneath because of that problem. I'm looking at you, Audio-Technica AT-HM30. Even better, not only did they use a nice foam on the pads, but they also used a good foam up in the, the crown, the top, whatever you want to call it. That thing is comfortable. And one last thing I want to gush about on these before I move into the actual specs and internals and whatnot, it's right over here, the arm. Not just because it's extendable, but let me just pull this out. It's metered. This is a ridiculously rare thing, and it looks like it's actually etched into the metal. So yes, I close it all the way to store it, but whenever I want to put these back on, I just bring it down to where I know exactly the comfy point is, and I can do it on both sides the same way each time. And let's just say I'm kind of particular about making sure both of these are the exact same distance no matter what style of headphone I'm wearing, so bonus points there. That doesn't impact anything beyond the aesthetics and the fit, but oh, that's a huge bonus for me. But that's enough about the build quality. Let's start talking specs. And to start off the spec talk, let's get into the battery, because these headphones have a 500 milliamp hour battery, and according to the manual, that provides you with 30 hours of playtime when you're not using the active noise canceling, and when you are using the noise canceling, you're going to get 24 hours. Though admittedly, the manual doesn't specify if those numbers are from when you're using Bluetooth or when you're just plugging into your device using the 3.5mm jack. But either way, I've only charged these once since I received them, and I've probably used them well into the 20-hour mark so far. Half of it was with Bluetooth, half of it was plugged in, and to be perfectly honest, it did a great job in both modes. And speaking of the active noise canceling, first off, there's a switch for it right here, and hit that. I don't know if you can see the LED that's on right now, but if that's on, that means the active noise canceling is functioning. I've thrown the term active noise canceling around a lot during this video, and some of you are probably wondering what the heck that means. Basically, what active noise canceling is a method to reduce the amount of noise that you're going to be hearing while listening to music, generally through the production of a counter noise signal. Now, I have used standard noise canceling headphones in the past that just generated a basic counter noise signal that did a great job drowning out the outside world, but these claim to use a microphone so that it can adapt the counter noise to fit your environment. And in the testing I've done so far, I can definitely attest to the fact that it does indeed have a microphone that's chugging along while you're doing the active noise canceling. I also learned that it's not always the best idea to have your active noise canceling on while gaming and you have a timer going on in the next room. Fortunately, my air fryer turns itself off once the timer goes off because I didn't hear it until the last beep, and then only barely. I've also used these while standing next to my very loud furnace and also on the occasional walk. The route I follow tends to lead me under a few overpasses, so it's actually doing a great job drowning out highway noise. Though admittedly, I'm not the biggest fan of using the active noise canceling when a semi-truck drives overhead because it cranks the counter noise signal up to match. Now, I've done enough talking about the left cup on these headphones with the 3.5mm jack and the ANC switch. Let's go over to the right cup, for this is where all of your Bluetooth controls lie. First off, we have the power switch, which also acts as your answer call button, stop start button, and whatnot. And I should point out, when turning this on, turning it off, pairing, and whatnot, instead of using the standard tones to indicate something's going on, there's actually a voice that tells you exactly what's going on. It was kind of creepy when I first used it, but now I've come to really appreciate that feature. Next off, we have the micro USB charging port and indicator LED. And finally, we have the standard plus and minus button used for navigating tracks and adjusting volume depending on how long you press your button and what your needs are. That pretty much covers the outside. So let's talk the internals, at least beyond the battery life. First off, I should point out that inside of these cups rests a pair of 40mm audio drivers. And I can say from experience that these have a great sound to them. The bass is nice and rich, the treble avoids going into the ear-splitting territory, and things get even better when you turn on the noise canceling because it does seem to amplify the signal a little bit alongside adding the counter noise. This makes them great for listening to music, watching movies, and gaming, though admittedly I wouldn't use these for editing because the signal isn't flat enough for my tastes. Also, as an added test that admittedly I had no need to do, I decided to hook these up to the little FLAC player I reviewed a while back, and whoo boy, it was eye-opening to say the least. When I initially tested the FLAC player, I used a set of in-ear monitor headphones that'll cost you about 40 bucks, and it sounded really good. Though admittedly, when I switched over to the studio quality audio on the earbuds, they weren't the happiest, though it still made a world of difference. When using these, however, they were more than up to the task. I wouldn't say these are audiophile grade headphones because, well, I've seen those, and the price tags will leave you with sticker shock for a month, but they still did a standout job. I thought the FLAC player knocked me on my butt the first time I used it, but I found myself just standing still and appreciating the music in a way I had not done before. And that was my long-winded way of saying that these sound really good, especially when you take the price into account. Now, you can find these in multiple places online, but the metrics from my affiliate links have told me one thing and one thing only, and that's 9 times out of 10, the people who are watching these videos are going to go to Amazon to pick them up, so I'll give you the Amazon price. These will cost you $70 on Amazon, and based on everything I've seen here, and based on my experiences with headphones, both above and below this price point, it's well worth the money. Even more so when you take into account the features of the detachable audio cable, the Bluetooth functionality, the extra long battery life, and the active noise canceling. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that this has become one of my main pairs of headphones. It's with me when I game, it's with me when I walk, though admittedly it might not be going on walks in the near future because it's getting kinda hot out, and even though these are breathable pads, they're still over-the-ear pads and my head overheats quite quickly. Though they will return to the walks when the weather changes once again. But until then, they will be one of the main sets of headphones I use for indoor activities. And I think I've really said all I can say about these. So, if by any chance I caught your attention, I will go ahead and link to the Amazon page down below. Heck, I'll go ahead and link Mixcder's website down below as well, because they were kind enough to provide a 20% off coupon for your first purchase on their website if you sign up using my link. Now that all of the admin's out of the way, I guess I need to get back to reviewing microphones. I've had 2 weeks off from that and I'm getting kind of rusty. So, until next time, this is your guy, Cly, signing off.